In this video, I wanted to go over the materials I use for my customs or my repaints or my touch-ups or whatever. Just the materials and the paints that I use, and because I get the question a lot, like what kind of paint do you use for this or what do you use for that? Do you prime? Do you prep? Do you sand the joints? I get the question all the time. Anytime I post a figure on Instagram or Facebook, I get that same question. So me, my personal preference, and it was crazy because I started using Tamiya, which is this one. I started using this paint right here, and this is just X7 red. I started using this when I first started painting, and it's an okay paint. You can't water it down because it's alcohol based, but it's okay. I like it more now that I know what I'm doing, versus when I first started, because I didn't know anything and I was just putting globs and globs of paint on. And then after Tamiya, I went to, can't see none of these labels, I went to Vallejo. I went to this brand, and this brand is great. It's an awesome paint to use when for anything really, touch-ups or anything. But a lot of times you have to seal this paint because it rubs. In most cases, it'll rub off or scratch off or anything. But now, same with Tamiya. Like when I first started using this, I didn't like it because I wasn't sealing my figures, I wasn't prepping them or anything. So using this was a pain because it came right off. But it's actually really good now that I'm using it. Like now that I know what I'm doing again, this is a really good paint to go with too. My go-to though is Model Masters. This one I found after using Tamiya and after using Vallejo, I found Model Masters. And it was funny too because I started with enamel and it was terrible. I just made a mess of everything. But after enamel, I went and got the right stuff, which is acrylic. And you'll know because on enamel, if you find it, enamel, that little bar is red. On acrylics, that bar is blue. So anytime you see these, if you see these anywhere, just remember the enamel one's red and the acrylic's blue. That little bar right there. And they come in a lot of colors. My Hobby Lobby doesn't have like pinks and some purples and stuff because their section for this is strictly for... The section for this is strictly for like vehicles and tanks and stuff like that, like old aircraft and stuff like that. So they got a lot of the flat grays and flat greens and a lot of the like this is gunmetal. They have a lot of those colors because that's just the section. They started to get more like purples and like Ford red, French blue and stuff like that. And another one I use too, besides Model Master, I don't paint figures with these. I've heard people do it. And I've heard people use it for figures. You just have to seal it. But this paint specifically, I use for my dioramas when I make one. I use Apple Barrel because it's only 50 cents. This is 50 cents at Walmart. I don't know if Target even has it. But Walmart has them for 2 quarters. Like if you find 2 quarters and you want to paint something just to test it out, this stuff is acrylic. It washes off though. It comes off really easy. It comes off as easy as this one, Vallejo. This is just more for modeling and stuff. This one is just more for crafts. But you can use it for dials. Like I said, I heard some people use it for figures. Some people use it for everything. I just use it for dials. But Apple Barrel paint, 50 cents at Walmart. And I also use this. I just started using spray sealer, but I will use I do use Mod Podge as well for my sealers. Like if I'm sealing something simple that I've painted, I will use this. And you can water this down as well. As along with these two, you can water Vallejo down, and you can water Model Masters down as well. These paints actually perform a lot better when you add. Like for me, I water down the whole jar. Some people just water down what they're using at the time, but I do the whole jar just so I don't have to keep watering the paint down every time I want to use it. Like there's a guy, he puts it in a lid to a jar. To a bottle. He'll put the paint in here, and he'll put like 2 or 3 drops of water every time he paints. And that's cool if that's how you want to do it, but I prefer to water down the whole jar. That way I don't have to worry about it. Same with these. The top comes off of these pretty easy. You just wiggle it a little bit. You just wiggle it. Top comes off, and I just put probably like a few drops of water in there. The newer ones, like if you buy a brand new Vallejo, it'll be full, so you won't be able to put as much water. But after I keep using it a few times and watering it down, I just put water in there. Just drip some water in there, shake it around. And it really dilutes the paint so it's not as thick when you paint. and it makes it better for brush strokes. So if you water it down just the right amount, you won't have as many brush strokes as you usually have. Like if you just go straight from this jar or this to a figure, and you have too much paint on the brush, it'll leave brush strokes. But if you water it down enough, and then you paint and you do thin layers of paint, you won't have any brush strokes. It took me a while to learn that because I was just globbing paint on stuff, and it was terrible. This is a paint I just started using, like literally I used it yesterday. Citadel by Games Workshop. This one's called Blood for the Blood God, and it looks like, I don't know if you can see over here. Yeah, you can. That's what that paint is, and it looks just like blood. It's scary. Like when I first painted it, it was super scary. But it's really effective in what it's for. Like it's extremely effective. But Citadel, I've been hearing great things about. I can't get this locally that I know about. I'm gonna have to try a shop in a city over. But as far as I know, I can't get this anywhere in my area. But I got it from a guy in Atlanta. I bought some casted heads from him, and he went out and bought this and sent it to me. His name's Claire Knott Customs on YouTube. Yeah, Claire Knott Customs on YouTube sent me this. I like this paint a lot. I watered it down. Did I water this down? I don't think I watered this down yet. I did it separately because I wasn't using that much. But I probably will throw some water in here. It really takes water well. It really works well. It spreads well. That's a really good paint. Like that's an extremely good paint that I like, and I might start getting more. Also for washes, I use this Creative Effects acrylic wash. This is a black wash. This is by Testers, which is Model Master. It's all the same thing. This stuff is amazing. Like you can wash. You buy this and you don't even have to make a wash. It's like $6. But the cool thing about this is, the reason I don't mind paying $6 for this is because once you use so much of this, because it's pretty thick when you buy it, you get a full jar, and the mixture's on the bottom, and it's really thick stuff. So even when you first use it, it's a really thick mixture, and you can mix it from there. You can mix water with it from there. But what I like to do is I use it till I get about half a jar, so about right here, and then I'll just fill it back up with water, and then you mix it up, and it's the same. So you get about, like if you was to mix this up, you could probably get 2 of these for the price of 1. So you could buy this one, pour half into another empty jar, and pour water in that and water in this, and you'll have 2 full jars. Like I stretched this one. I did it at half, and then I did it when it got really low because there was a lot of the mixture in the bottom, and I just put water on top of that and I had a full jar again. So I had about 3 jars. I had 3 bottles of this from 1 bottle. That's why I really like this stuff right here, because you can really stretch this out. And it doesn't matter if it's thicker or thinner because it's a wash. You're going to wipe most of it off anyway. So I really like this Creative Effects wash right here from Testers. This is really good stuff. And a funny story with this, I went to Michael's because they had them in the same section. This is the same thing. But I went to Michael's and I was moving too fast, and I just picked up 2 of these. And this is funny because this is enamel wash. Probably it might be backwards in the video, I don't know. But this is enamel wash, and this it ruined the figure I was painting because I put an entire wash on it and it wouldn't wipe off. I didn't even realize it was enamel until after it wouldn't wipe off the figure. And it stayed sticky. It's sticky to this day. It's still sticky. But I have 2 of these just sitting here that I cannot use because I was moving too fast and doing too much in the store. But yeah, for these you want to look for the label. The label's green on the acrylic and brown on the enamel. But they're the same. They're both black wash, I think. This is actually a stain. That's what's crazy. It was a mud stain because I was trying to put mud on boots. That's what it was. And I saw mud stain, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go with it. Didn't even read this part because this one's just a black wash. It wiped off, but you can't see it. But this one's just a black wash. Like literally black. And then if you go to Michael's, besides, don't get these unless you paint models or something. Don't get these for anything Marvel Legend related, Mythic Legion, anything plastic that anybody's selling. This will ruin it. Don't use this unless you paint models. But the Testers makes these in a bunch of different colors. They have red, blue, gray. There's a bunch of different colors for this acrylic wash. This one's just black. They got brown, all kind of colors. I love this stuff. This stuff's amazing. Now, aside from paints, those are all the paints that I use to paint my stuff. Those are all the paints I use. I don't use anything else. I might try stuff here and there, but some stuff doesn't work. Or some stuff I don't like the way it works, so I just don't use it. Now, For materials, as far as taking things apart or cutting things or whatever, I use the basics. Wire cutters, you can get these anywhere. Harbor Freight, Walmart, Target, a dollar store, Family Dollar, anything you have in your area, Dollar General, should have wire cutters somewhere in there. You can use these. I use these for anything, multitude of things, cutting. That's what they're for, wire cutters. But yeah, wire cutters. What is this thing called? A box cutter. Box cutters come in a lot of handy with Marvel Legends or taking things apart. And then most of them come with more than one blade. Like this one probably has like 5 or 6 blades in it. So yeah, box cutter. These are, what are these? Fine point pliers. These are really good for punching out joints in Marvel Legends. Like these are extremely good. Like if you get this figure hot enough and you just put that right there, right in that little joint, that little peg. You just put that right there and it pushes it right out. And I use these same things to push them in. So when I get this all malleable and warm, these are small enough to where I don't have to worry about making too much of leaving too many marks on here. I put that peg in the inside and I go over here and I squeeze it. Pops right in. I use this for everything. I use this more than anything. Yeah, I use this more than anything. And as far as sanding goes, I have a few different sanders, but this one's my go-to. And I want to say it came out of the dollar store. It has a nail maintaining kit. It comes with like sanders. Toenail clippers and a lot of stuff. But this is the main thing that I like. The sanding sponge. This thing's awesome. I use this for everything. Like if I'm sanding, if I want to sand like a big surface, you just hit that with it, and it just takes off everything. I really like this little sander right here. I've had this one for a while. It might be time to get a new one. And I use tape. This painter's tape is awesome too, because it really sticks to the figure. Some figures, like if you already painted the figure and you use this, it'll pull the paint off. Just word to the wise, because it did it to me a few times. I've painted things and this has pulled the paint right off. So before you paint, if you want to mask something or just block it off from getting other paint on it, you could lay some of this down and then paint. But do not put this over something that's already painted, because it will pull up the paint, which is weird because it's supposed to be this is supposed to be the least adhesive tape you can get. But no, it ruins stuff for me, some stuff. And what I just got into was silly putty. I saw some videos of people using this stuff. For masking, and I've done it, and it's awesome. Because you can literally, like, who can I show you? Like this guy, I'm showing him again. If I wanted to take his head off and say I wanted to paint these eyes, can you see me? Yeah, say I wanted to paint the eyes, they're red now. Say I wanted to paint them blue or yellow. You take the silly putty and you just get little pieces of it and put the head right there. You get little pieces of it, you roll it, you fold it, or however you want to make it smaller. You go like that, and literally you can just mask wherever you want it to be masked. So you can stick that on there like that, and then you can wrap it around. Oh, I knocked it off. But yeah, you can wrap it around. You can keep going with it. You can stretch, and it stretches pretty far before it shows or anything. So you can mask. It's like, it just takes your masking to a more personal level. Like the tape is cool, so I just masked off the bottom of the eye a little bit. But you could just take that and wrap it all around and get it, and it'll literally mask it to where you won't get paint on the rest of the head, which is what it's supposed to do. But it really makes masking off something personal, because with this, you can do the same thing, but you waste a lot of this. You waste a lot of this painter's tape when you're masking, because you can't reuse it. Once you stick it down and once you put it on a figure and you paint over it, this is pretty much useless. Like you can't take this off and put it on something else. You probably could, but it won't be as sticky. With this stuff, I've painted stuff. You can see there's paint in there. There's like yellow paint, yeah. There's yellow paint back there. I've been painting stuff and masking stuff and doing everything with this stuff, and it's reusable. As far as it goes for me, like as far as what I'm doing, it's really reusable stuff. And it doesn't give me any problems. It comes right off. I left it on a figure for like 2 weeks. It didn't damage the figure, it didn't do anything. This stuff's really, really, really good for masking. Like I was telling some people on Facebook about it and they looked at me like I was crazy, but this stuff's really good for masking. And then last but not least, one of the things I like to use too, if I'm customizing, perfect example, I use it on this figure. I use it on a figure over here. Let me pull this out first. But this stuff is called KT tape. And what it is for athletes, and as far as I know, they use it for like their joints. Like I use it for my foot because I have something with my foot and I need to keep it stretched out or whatever. But yeah, this stuff is awesome. I use it for wraps. I use it on the custom Thor that I did, and I had put wraps on his arms, and it came out pretty dope. I'm gonna show you a figure right now that I recently used it on. I used it on this Valkyrie here. See her legs? I put a wrap on her legs. This is just a KT tape that's painted gray, and it came out amazing. Like this stuff works really good for wraps and really good for stuff like anything. You can use, and it's adhesive. That's what I didn't mention. The front side you can get in any color. It comes in all kind of colors: pink, blue, white, gray, silver, whatever color you want to get. You can also use I don't want to call it, I think it's hockey stick tape. That stuff is really sticky though. This stuff is sticky, but not as sticky as the, is it sports tape? I think that's what it's called. But it's what they use for the hockey sticks, and they wrap up the ends of them. You can use that too. But I only had some of this because I had an injury, and I had this already here. I didn't want to buy hockey tape, but this stuff's amazing too. This stuff works really good for wraps and really good for anything. But yeah, these are my materials that I use on a daily if I'm customizing. All my materials I use, this is everything, nothing extra. You can also use a palette. I have a palette, but it's covered in paint, so I won't show it. But yeah, it's everything I use for make my customs. If you have any questions, anything you want to ask me, shoot me a comment. Go to my Instagram, shoot me a comment or a message over there, whatever. I'm here for anything, any questions you might have. But yeah, thanks for watching.